All right, folks. Before I move on to this Oakland A's and Detroit Tigers game, game two with Jack Flaherty on the mound against Jacob Lopez, I got to talk about this great play in the game one. Detroit Tigers win over the A's at 11-4 Detroit. We got to talk about Wenzell Perez's uh, uh, couple great outs at second base against the A's in the seventh. He got out two guys. Tyler Soderstrom, he had a base hit. The ball hit the fence, and then Winslow threw the ball right to second base where Javier Baez was, and got him out. Got Soderstrom out. He also did that again within the same inning with Jacob Wilson. Jacob Wilson had a base hit, hit a fence, the right field. Wenzell Perez threw the ball to um, Javier Baez, and he made a great assist. So that is something that Detroit has in the outfield is great fielders. That's something that, as an Oakland A's fan, or I'm sorry, Vegas fan, Vegas A's fan, you're when you're down 5-0, the score at the time was 5-0, and you're down and you're on the road, you got to take your base hits. The ball hit very hard for Soderstrom and for Jacob Wilson. You just got to learn how to manage the game and not go for extra bases. You can't win the game off a home run when it's 5-0. You got to get guys on base, and that's something that uh, that's what you consider a small ball in that terms of for the A's. If you play the small ball, in between there was a guy Denzel Clark that got a single. So if you had a guy on first and second, or first and third, and then Winston Clark would have been on first, uh, and then Tyler Soderstrom would have been on third. With Jacob Wilson with a base hit, you could probably had two runs scored, so it'd have been 5-2, and the rally could have started. So that's something to talk about. The second thing I want to talk about, moving on to this game of 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 the Athletic A's and Detroit Tigers, Jacob Lopez, Jack Flaherty on the mound. Uh, Jack Flaherty's been struggling a little bit. He did lose um, between the Tampa Bay Rays and at home against Cincinnati Reds. The first two games he gave up uh, the 6 hits, 8 runs, and in the second game he lost 11-1, gave up uh, 5 hits, 7 runs, and 7 earned runs. So he gave up 15 runs in those two games. He only had 5 strikeouts against Cincinnati, and I think he had, I think maybe 5 strikeouts as well for that game for against the Tampa Bay Rays. So, uh, so my Fanatics account, they have the props for um, for for Flaherty strikeouts is going to be right about 6.5, and they have 5.5 for Lopez strikeouts over under. I would almost go with 5.5 strikeouts with Jack Flaherty. I know that that's going down a little bit, maybe even 4 strikeouts, just because he's been struggling a little bit. His control is a struggle for Jack Flaherty. He pitches better at home, I think, but some people think that he has a good game and an off game and a good game, but he's had 2 bad games in a row. He's kind of overdue to have a good game. So I would almost go 5.5 strikeouts or 4.5 strikeouts with uh, with Jack Flaherty. If you go 5.5 strikeouts, that's only minus 5.5. If you go six, if you go 6.5 strikeouts or 6+ strikeouts, you go minus 220. Again, you go 7 strikeouts, that's minus 140. So, but if you go all the way down to 4 strikeouts, that's minus 1,300. So you're not going to get any gain for that. So I would almost either pick uh, either pick 6 strikeouts or stay away from that bet. Lopez, if you go with Lopez, you got plus 115 with 6 strikeouts and more. If you go 4 strikeouts with Jacob Lopez, you go uh, minus 375. If you go 3 strikeouts, it's only a minus 1,000. So you're not going to get any gain for that. So if you go with Jacob Lopez, you might want to stick with 4 strikeouts at the most. And if you think that you can get 5 guys out and strikeouts, I don't see how that's happening because Detroit's lineup looks pretty good. The Kerry Carpenter is not going to be in the lineup today, so that's one thing I would understand that with lefties he struggles. So Carpenter may come in the later innings as a pitch hitter. So if you want to play that bet when he comes in, you could try that. But if I was to go with uh, batting preps, I would almost maybe with hitting preps, I would almost go with Jacob Wilson because he's been on lately. I would also, it seems like the Tyler Satterstrom is on lately, so that's another. If you're going with the A's, go with those 2 guys. I think Torkelson is due to hit a home run or at least get a base hit. Dillinger is always a good a placement to get a hit. So if you go with Dillinger, you go minus 165. You go with Torkelson, you go minus 155. I would always play safe, of course, to go with Baez and maybe Riley Green. I know that Gerber Torres is probably due to get a hit as well. Um, but for home runs, I would almost go with Torkelson. If you put, if you go with the Detroit win and with Torkelson, if I go with Torkelson win, and if I go with popular vote and I go with a Tiger win, and I would make let's see, if I may make a $20 bet, that's $132 right there. So if I were to do that with Turkison a home run and Tigers win, that's a really safe bet. Actually, that I wouldn't say that's a safe bet. That's just a, a good bet to just run with it as far as you can go. But if you don't want to if you don't want to go with Torkelson uh, with a home run, and you want to go back to a batting preps, and you want to go with hitting preps, you can go with uh, Jacob Wilson, and then you can go with Torkelson with a hit, and then maybe you go with. I would maybe go with Green. I always go with Green. Or else you go with Dillinger, Torkelson, and Riley Green and the win. So you take 5 bets. If you take these 5 bets, you go with Detroit Tigers win minus 1.5. You go with uh, Jacob Wilson with a base hit. You go with Spencer Torkelson with a hit. If you go with Jacob Wilson, that means you're going to get 2 hits. He has to get 2 hits. So if you do that, and then you go with Riley Green get a hit and Dillinger with a hit, if you make that happen with even with a $10 bet, oh no, I don't want to do that. Wow, that's not even funny. But if I go with a dollar bet, that's $18. So I just made a bet for $18, no, for a dollar to have to make uh, Detroit Tigers win. Uh, Jacob Wilson with uh, a, a base hit and a half, so he's got to get 2 hits. Spencer Torkelson with a hit, Riley Green with a hit, and Dillinger with a hit. If I would to go back here and then go back to Detroit, make a new bet. If I go back to popular and have Detroit Tigers win, and then I go to let's go to batting preps again. Let's go with the hits again. If I go with the hits, and then I go with you know what? I'm gonna see. Let's say Patrick Meadows. I'm gonna go to him, I'm gonna go with uh, Soderstrom with a hit, and then I'm going to go with Javier Baez with a hit because he didn't get a hit last game at all. So if I did that with 4 bets, 4 picks, if I go with Tigers win, Patrick Meadows with a hit, Tyler Soderstrom with a hit, Javier Baez with a hit. If I go with that, go with maybe $10. That's $79. That's a total win on $79. That's actually a decent bet. So doing what you want to do. I didn't do the pitching prep on that at all, but if I did that pitching prep, I probably have uh, maybe um, Jack Flaherty with 5 strikeouts. At least he needs at least get 5.5 strikeouts, at least 5 and plus. So if you do that with a couple guys hitting, I would probably go with uh, Baez with a hit, and I would go with Patrick Meadows with a hit. But then I would not bet the money line of the game, just so that if Detroit loses this game, and Jack Flaherty gets his strikeouts, and you get Baez and Meadows with a hit, you'll still win. That's what I do sometimes. Is I don't bet the money line because of the game of the Tigers winning, because sometimes with Jack Flaherty, he's just not on. He's just not on, but he will get his strikeouts. So he's at home. It'd be a good game. Tell me what you think. If I'm right or wrong, I'm out of here.